Hey, we were just talking about health food and what's not healthy, and real estate deals gone sideways. We may keep talking about that when we come back.
Standard practice.
We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to have to ask. You just said the AI banner is throwing you off. What are you seeing?
Okay, so
everywhere?
now if you look, well, let's look here. Visual aids. So, so Facebook now has this little circle-y thingy, which is AI. So every time you go to search, hold on, where'd it go? Okay, hit the search button. Ask Meta AI, Fashion History 101. Why do cats purr? Imagine a vintage future.
I'm not interested in any of those things.
Top NY Coffee,
What are you
DIY
searching?
backyard.
You're getting that stuff.
None of this stuff. Pure writer's block.
That one should
That
show
could
up on
help.
mine.
That could
Ask
yeah.
Meta AI. Oh, geez, I just hit something.
It's learned
Oh,
you.
geez.
Calling Mark
Okay.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
So if you do that on your Facebook search bar, then if you go to Messenger, ask Meta AI anything in Messenger.
Okay.
So we have a
Let's
new
ask him something. You want to give it a go?
I'm scared.
Is this like playing with a Ouija board?
Teach me
Little bit,
meditation basics, retro outdoor furniture ideas, hacks to travel with points. Suggest a playlist for my barbecue.
Let's do it. Let's see. Let's
Andy.
ask. Ask
You-
it.
do you want me to hit-
What's your playlist going to look like?
Let's
Okay,
find
I'm going to
out.
hit suggest a playlist for my barbecue.
What you got there?
My name is Meta AI. Think
Ooh.
of me like an assistant
My name's
who's here
Chucky.
to help you
Wanna
learn
play?
and plan and connect. Otis Redding, Beyonce, and Andre 3000, Outkast, Great Peacock, Gulf Dreams, I don't know what that is, Allman Brothers, Nikki Lane, Leon Bridges, Justin Timberlake. So there's my playlist.
Okay.
But does
Johnny
that sound
Slim.
accurate? Like, is it learning what's already on your
Would
phone?
it import it like into your Spotify and make a list for
I
you?
mean-
See, that would be.
I have the most
Morning, Diana.
random music, so it
Yeah.
could be, but honestly, I think this is a random list that's created.
Yeah.
It's just random. This doesn't have anything to do with
Doesn't
it
have
spying
anything
on
to
you.
do with, well, it
Does
hasn't
it look
spied on me
familiar?
yet.
Does it look familiar, though, that playlist?
The number one song is one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
So yes,
Well, I
it's
think-
probably pulling off my Spotify.
Yeah.
But like number 2 is not something I've got at all, and number 3 is not something I've got
Okay.
at all. So I don't
So
know.
maybe it was random on the first one.
It could have been.
I don't know, it's somewhere between. My name's Chucky. Do you want to play?
I'm not
and
sure.
do you want to play thermonuclear war?
Yeah.
Is that how it went? How did
Yeah.
it
Do you want to play thermonuclear war?
thermonuclear
So
like that.
there's a life tip for the day.
Yeah. It's just freaky.
Oh no, how do I get this to stop?
Oh, it's your.
Now it's taking over your phone.
Yeah. You've
Delete-
infected it.
delete.
All our phones belong to us now.
Okay, so anyway, so now
There's Trojan horse. Do
apparently-
they still have those? Is that how they operate?
Oh, there's
Oh, yeah.
still such things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So anyway,
Oh,
that's
man.
what's going on. I'm confused about all of that new AI banner stuff on Facebook.
I'm frightened.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah.
I ain't scared.
We've been watching.
I'm ready to throw my phone away.
It's
be
just
done with it.
whatever.
I'm going to go back to a landline.
Can you get one of those?
Valid
I don't know.
residence.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even know if you can get one of those. Hilarious. hilarious.
Leave your name and number after the beep.
Well, my
Actually used
understanding,
to answer the phone and not know who it was.
I'm not sure the phone lines like connect to phone lines anymore. I think they
gosh.
may be, and I may be wrong on this. I'm not sure the phone lines are maintained quite
For
like they
phone,
used
they're
to
only
be.
they're only Cat 6 or
If there's a
whatever for
current phone
Ethernet.
expert on there, please.
I am wondering about that. I mean, can you just get like a landline to your house?
You can.
think you
You
can.
can, but I'm not 100% sure it won't be running off of internet.
Cellular?
Hey,
Yeah.
audience,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments if you have a landline at your home.
Yes, and if it's ran.
Who provides
if-
it? How does it work?
I'd be really interested if someone
What is
had a
this
landline
magic?
installed recently.
Yeah, because I'm.
Have you seen the videos of like Gen Zers trying to make a phone call on a rotary phone?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I never liked making phone calls on rotary phones. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's a deal. It was a deal.
Did I go all the way? Oh no! What if that wasn't a 2?
This is annoying.
Oh, my finger slipped out.
You dial it, you dial
Yeah.
it wrong. You got to start all over.
Yep.
It
Hang up.
was kind of an uncomfortable thing.
Yeah,
you know
it
what I
wasn't.
mean? It just didn't feel right.
It
Whoever
didn't.
designed that, let's talk to them.
Believe-
Do we have
that
them on the
was-
phone,
Do you know how
producer?
cutting edge that was?
I think
though,
that
at
was
the time?
it was AGB. Didn't he come up with that thing?
I don't know.
Who's AGB?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh. I've never heard him.
Sarah?
do that.
Sarah? Can you get
I
me
thought
the-
you were going to say it was Al Gore. That seems like Al.
I'm sure he thinks
right before the internet.
Right before the
he
internet
came up with a rotary phone.
The funny
first.
thing is there's a whole lot of people. Well, they're not watching, but there's a whole lot of people who wouldn't understand the Al Gore reference,
I
right?
know.
Because they
True.
wouldn't know that Al Gore tried to say he invented the
He's
invented
the
internet.
one that saved the planet, young people.
Did. I'm
To all
still,
you
That's
Gen
right.
Zers watching us right
I'm
now.
still not happy about him inventing global warming.
I know, right?
It's just I don't think it's a good thing, and he should have never have invented it.
Oh, Al Gore. On his private plane.
On his private-
Talking about global warming and such. Good
You-
times.
He and Greta.
Well, on the flip side, I really do like
She's
all the
scary.
modern innovations, and
No.
yeah, I do. And I run my law firm on Zoom phone. Like Zoom
Yeah.
doesn't just you can actually run
Right.
your phone system on phone service and all that through
Yeah.
Zoom. It's really cheap.
And if you use Zoom anyway,
If you use Zoom anyway, yeah, why not?
Makes
It's like a $6 add-on. You get a whole another phone line for Zoom, and your whole team you can transfer to extensions. Well, we just got put in. We ordered the desk phones from Zoom,
nice.
and it's really cool because they're hot deskable. So all the staff, we've all got Zoom on our phones. So you walk up to the desk, you're like, I want this to be my desk today. You scan the QR code on the desk phone with your cell phone that has Zoom installed, and your cell phone says, do you want this to be your phone? You say yes.
Yes.
And you're
There's
now
your
logged
phone.
in to that, and it's got a camera on it, and it's got a screen, and you can actually do your Zoom call from your desk phone.
That's pretty
I
cool.
can show it to you. It's in
How
the
much are
lobby.
the desk
That
phones?
sounds
What do
like-
they
They're,
co- what
they're
do they
$40 a month. You lease them,
$40 a month.
so they're a little high,
Yeah, that's
Shoo.
pretty high.
but
Well, I was going to say, I don't think a
it's
lot
so
of the,
cool.
I think a lot of the phones are hooked to internet because like the last landline I had at my office that the company had provided at that time, it wasn't like it wasn't
Right.
guaranteed to work once I plugged in the
V-
phone jack.
VOP, is that what
I don't know.
VoIP.
VoIP, yeah.
Yeah,
We
VoIP.
really need an expert to weigh in on this.
Well, and all these obviously run off the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
running off the internet. So, whatever. It is what it is. I've been watching the Fallout show, so I've been having terrible dreams about the end of the
Oh,
world.
I've watched the first. I've watched the first 2 episodes of that. Can't recommend it for the kids.
Nope, it is not a
No,
kid
not a
show.
kid
There are
show.
certain things that I'm like, I don't want to see that, and I close my eyes.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny. I mean, it's I don't
amusing.
know. I didn't
Kyle
play the video
MacLachlan
game.
was in it. You can't, I can't hardly turn anything without Kyle MacLachlan. He's pretty amusing.
I don't even know who that is.
That's her dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
gets snatched in the first
Yep,
episode.
yep.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's well done for, what it is. So,
Yep.
but I have been having terrible end of world dreams. And I'm like, we really need to wrap this series up because these are freaking me out.
Walton Goggins is doing a good job in that one.
Who's Walton
He
Goggins?
plays the ghoul.
That's his name?
Yeah, Walton Goggins.
I never realized that was that guy's name.
It's a great name. That's Hollywood name though, right?
I don't know.
a
It might
real
be.
weird
I
name.
remember him
I
originally.
like him on Justified.
as I remember him originally as Walter from Shanghai Noon. Yeah. Yeah. He was one of the bandits that shot somebody when he wasn't supposed to in the very beginning, and
He's
then comes back again at the end.
The new Western type cast character, because the new Westerns are, he's like a Western type
Yeah,
character
he
in
is.
Fallout.
Yeah.
And he was in Justified.
And he was in a show called The Unicorn, which actually was a little off-brand for him, but
You know,
You guys have lost me. I don't
No.
watch shows.
Yeah.
So
I don't watch many. I've watched a couple from time to time.
I'll tell you what was really good, though. We just finished the season 1 of this, the live action of The Last Airbender.
I've heard that's good.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Excellent. Now, if you would probably won't appreciate it as much if you didn't watch the cartoons back 20 years ago.
yeah, I did.
Yeah, I didn't.
And those were really good. Those were really good. And then they
Because I was an adult 20 years ago.
well, me too,
Just kidding.
but I had kids.
That's
And it wouldn't
funny.
stop me
too.
anyway.
Me
It
too.
wouldn't stop me anyway.
Oh goodness.
Oh man.
But they tried to make a live action movie out of it, and it was terrible.
Yeah, you've mentioned that it
well,
was not
they,
good.
they
I mean, 20 years ago I had infants, so you just lose a
yeah.
period of your life.
It's like a blackout.
Yeah.
I had
Like,
some
what-
that were
what
right in
happened?
the wheelhouse for watching that show. So.
There is something about that time frame of life where there's infants in the household.
Yeah.
It is a blackout
toddlers.
survival mode.
Yeah.
Everyone is just trying to survive.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
kind of a hot mess.
Probably need to eat healthy and have power bars and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, we were talking about that before air. So there's a lot of health food out there that we don't really think is health food. And I mean, we're not nutritionists by any means.
I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm definitely not a nutritionist. But I think there's a lot of things that it's like when I go to the health food aisle at the grocery store, there's a whole lot of very processed things. And I'm not sure at what point you process something so heavily and throw in so many different things to make it a certain way that it loses its nutritional value.
Well, if you can package something up, it's going to have some type of preservatives in it.
Yes.
Even if they say no preservatives added. I mean, let's think about
It's
this.
got something in
It's
it.
in a foil package, so it's not going to last
There's some-
that long if it doesn't have something preserving it. But yeah, there's varying levels. So if you eat a Cliff Bar, that's
Yeah.
probably healthier than having a ding dong for breakfast. But by how much? I don't know. There's a lot of sugar in both,
That's one.
and different forms of sugar.
Yes.
Well, I think really, if you really want to eat healthy, you got to cook for yourself.
I think you got to cook
Correct.
for
Yeah,
yourself.
I think
I think you got to buy quality ingredients because I think one of the big things right now, since food cost has gone up so significantly, you can even look at the ingredient that you've been buying for a long time from the same brand, and it still may not be the same quality
Right.
of ingredient, which leads us to the whole, buy local when you can, because it's become very difficult. Like I started buying these little yogurt smoothie things, and they weren't very big for the girls, and this has been a while ago. And I'm like, well, they're not very big, so they shouldn't have that much sugar in them. False.
Right.
I got to looking at them, and I'm like, this has more sugar than a can of Coke.
Oh gosh.
And it's a little
Wow.
yogurt smoothie.
Wow.
And
Well,
I'm
at least
like,
it has some live cultures in it, right?
yeah.
Maybe.
And I'm like, at some point, it's like, why did they even make it? Because it's literally one of those things that you could eat it without it being that sweet. It's not necessary. But I think the Americans especially taste for sugar. We expect everything to be sweet.
Super icky
Like,
sweet.
oh, now when you go get a hamburger at a fast food place, the bun is incredibly
Yeah,
sweet. It's
yeah.
got a
It's
lot of sugar
Hawaiian
in it.
roll. It's like
It's a Hawaiian.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah. I don't know. It's tricky because how do we come back from that, right?
I
don't know.
Yeah, you talk to
Yeah,
internationals and they'll say, "Man, everything over here is sweet." Or you go to their country and you taste it and you're like, "Hey, why is this dessert
Yeah.
not very sweet?"
Yeah.
I'm eating this piece of cake and it just
Raspberry zingers
Tastes
are the
kinda
best
blah.
breakfast starter. I don't know what a raspberry zinger is.
I think it's kind of like a
is another Little Debbie.
yeah. It's in that vein of the Little Debbie snack cakey kind of thing. Yeah.
Tell you what.
Well, that comes from a church too, so it must
Is that,
be true.
is, that,
So-
is that Rodney talking to us
It
through
may
his
be
church
Rodney.
page?
It might
Rodney.
be.
Raspberries. He's like, I'm hiding in the mask of the church to talk about the raspberry zingers.
All right, next soccer game, you're working in the press box. Bring me a raspberry zinger.
So you can have a sample.
I probably won't eat it, but I'll at least taste it. As my mom would say, a thank you helping.
A thank you helping.
You got to take a thank you helping.
Well, that's interesting.
Does your mom have weird little phrases like that?
Well, probably.
you don't have
but
to
they
have
don't.
a
You
lot,
don't know.
but you have to have a thank you helping.
Yeah, you
which
don't.
was just a little
But
taste.
the thing is, you don't know they're weird. And
Oh, I knew it was weird. No, I knew it was weird.
it was weird right off the bat.
You're like,
That's weird.
thank you.
This
Yeah,
was just
thank you.
normal.
Like
I
that
grew
weird
up
lady
like
at the
this.
potluck. You're like, so good.
So good.
Thank you.
It's like that time I ate dill beef jerky.
Traumatized.
Yeah, my thank
man.
you helping.
Oh
Watch
man.
the cloned Tyrone. Is that what that says? Tyrone on Netflix. Great movie.
They
the government
cloned
conspiracy
Tyrone
behind
on
is crazy.
Netflix.
There's enough government conspiracies out there.
that are true.
That's going to give me more crazy dreams, Chastity.
Yeah, don't. We just got Will to take the foil off his head, so calm down.
It's coming back, man. I'm telling you, it's
back.
election season.
Back to mom rules. My mom's biggest rule is no soda or candy or anything like desserty sweet before 10 a.m. Like, it ain't happening, kids.
Okay, that's like a hard rule.
That was a hard rule. Like, there is something,
What
not
about
just
cinnamon rolls?
Oh, that is a breakfast item. That's
Right.
fine.
Breakfast with syrup or pancakes with syrup
And
on it.
chocolate chips.
I mean, just like candy.
Isn't
No
it funny
candy, no
though how
soda.
we've like said Jim Gaffigan
yeah.
does a bit on that where
Yeah.
it's like
he's great.
You know,
he's so
it's-
funny.
He really
He is so
is.
stinking funny.
Yeah, it's but those are acceptable forms of eating
Dessert.
sugar before 10 a.m.
Terrible.
Like a
terrible.
Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
That's not good. It's
Or,
pie.
or candy up your coffee with.
Well,
all
we
kinds of
used to
creamer and
call
sugar.
it sugar pops. I mean, they were sugar pops. That's what
Oh,
you
yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
They were sugar. They were tasty too.
I'm trying to think of other mom rules. Nothing good happens after midnight. That was a mom
That's
and dad
kinda
rule.
true, though.
I mean,
Kinda
that is
true.
not false.
It's not altogether wrong.
That is one I'll probably carry over. Because if I really thought back to anything I did after, it probably wasn't.
Probably should have been in bed asleep.
Probably wasn't a good idea.
I'm a little worried about this cricket protein I've been seeing is allegedly being put in.
What is
food.
the deal with the cricket thing?
I don't know.
Everybody's talking about this.
Well,
We're reaching Great Depression level, like era levels, right?
well,
Like,
I don't know that that's it. I
we
think
need
it's
something.
I think it's just the lefties and their militant whack job environmental. You can't eat beef. Cows are bad for the planet, and so
The
we're
cow
gonna,
farts,
We're,
that's
we're
what's getting us.
replacing.
I just
Yeah.
feel so bad for the crickets, though.
yeah.
You know, crickets have rights too.
They have rights. They have feelings.
It's a
I
good
know
point.
the crickets in my
exoskeletons.
house.
Isn't it difficult when your worldviews collide? It's like I can't decide if I'm an animal activist or an environmentalist. I can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
I glanced over an article last night about one of the big, like, vegan New York restaurateurs just got busted for some serious fraud and stuff. And
Did he subscribe to the theory that I do? Like vegan food ain't bad when you put a little meat with it?
I had an interesting one of our Uber drivers when we were in Phoenix. He was from Jamaica. He's been in the United States a really long time. The dude, he's like, something came up about not being able to give up cheese, and he was like, "Oh, I only eat fruit." And I was like,
Only eat fruit.
"He
Talk about
only
too much sugar.
eats fruit.
Only fruit.
That's it." And we're like, "Well, tell us about your diet." And he's like, "Well, like this was like 5 o'clock at night." He was like, "I had a cantaloupe this morning," and I'm like, "What? Just a cantaloupe?"
Can you get protein from fruit?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little gross here. Did his car just reek?
No, he was a majestic specimen. I'm going to say that. The dude was 56 years old and was so physically fit. I would have guessed that he was 30.
Where did he get his protein?
That's what we asked
That's
him.
a lot
And
of fiber and sugar, but
His
not a whole lot of
response was, I get something acids. Is it amino acids?
amino acids.
Folic?
I get amino acids from XXX. And we all were just
Probably
like,
don't say XXX.
get no
but,
meat. Like, there's no meat, to quote my big fat Greek wedding.
yeah.
You don't eat no meat.
Right.
Like, it was interesting
Just give me
though,
some Windex.
because it said it took him a long time to get used to the diet. But I was like, he's like, this is what works for me, and I was like, that's very interesting.
I'm thinking about
Where did he get his amino acids though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that a supplement, like a pill?
I bet-
He
I
said he said he does not eat anything cooked.
That's what I'm having a hard time with. I can't imagine he would pop pills.
I mean, grilled pineapple
He
is
wasn't.
delicious.
It is delicious.
yeah, you
Yes.
should, yeah.
I thought that was
You didn't
very
ask enough
interesting.
questions. I need more.
Oh, we did. We kept
okay.
asking
All right.
questions.
You
And
just
he
forgot
just said,
the
I
answers.
just, I eat. Well, he didn't have an answer to those things because
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't exist, right? I don't know of a fruit that has protein in it. But somehow it worked. And I'm not saying go on a fruit diet. I'm not saying
You're
that.
not an advocate.
I'm not. I just thought it was interesting conversation. Another one of those things, we had all of these interesting Uber drivers that had.
Sounds like it. This is 2 weeks in a row.
We had
Can't wait to hear
we
for next
had
week.
Fernando that was Hispanic that absolutely
Really? He's
loved
Hispanic?
country music.
Fernando's Hispanic.
Fernando is Hispanic,
Billy Crystal.
and he absolutely
that coming.
loved country music. And I was just like, okay,
Who doesn't?
And then we
I mean,
had
even Beyonce loves country music,
true.
apparently.
Yeah.
And
By the
then-
way, I call cultural appropriation right
No doubt.
there. Yeah,
she's
come
from
on now.
Texas.
That's.
She's from
Oh.
Texas.
Yeah, well.
I don't know.
I think
I'm not
that's
going to argue for
irrelevant.
Beyonce.
She's blonde,
She
too.
can do what she
Again.
Beyonce is going to do what Beyonce does.
on.
And nobody's going to stop her. But I'm getting to a point here, guys.
Oh, sorry. We just keep interrupting.
Betty was
Black Betty? Sorry.
No, a Caucasian Betty was a retired police officer. She had a very interesting perspective too. But the point I'm getting to is if you listen to people, you can learn a lot of things.
Okay, I'm listening. I'll quit talking.
From them.
I'll listen to you.
And this is going to go to my next point, and I'm going to stir up a big pot. Are you ready? There's a whole lot of Christians attacking a whole lot of Christians right now.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Whole bucket load.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So that may be my coffee talk of discussing with you two fellas.
I don't want to talk about it.
No.
Well, I don't want to talk about specific situations going on that people are being attacked
But that
for.
culture?
I want to talk about it seems to be that a lot of Christians like to tell other Christians that they're doing things wrong based off of the truth of the Bible, right? Mm-hmm. And we all can read the Bible. Mm-hmm. We all have read the same Bible. And it doesn't always translate the same way. Or people enter their own, things, agendas. And it's interesting to me, just it's really hard, I think, from somebody looking on the outside of Christianity to think, how could I ever do that the right way? If these people, and I want your opinions on
Well,
this.
first of all, you make the right point. You're making the right point.
Yeah.
Because Jesus said you'll know them by their love. What I want for you more than anything else is to be unified. Mm-hmm.
Literally, John 17 is Jesus praying that his disciples and the disciples that would come after him would be one as he and the Father are one. And so he saw this coming is what we're saying. He saw it coming, and just before he's arrested and put to death for the forgiveness of our sins, to by his grace bring us back into relationship with him, or as we call it, salvation, both here and now and later. He prayed that prayer. So that's telling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we didn't even make it out of Acts.
Yeah.
Before
we're like, hey, you're doing it wrong. But
that's how long it took.
But set that against the backdrop of God's grace. How beautiful is it that even though he knew we would act that way because we're sinful humans like all other sinful humans, even as Christians, that he would extend his grace to us even though we will continue like all other human beings to struggle to get along.
Yes.
That's why he came in the first place. When we chose sin, we lost relationship with him, and because we lost relationship with him, we lost relationship with each other. Yeah. And so that Christ came by his grace to put that back into order. And what we see dimly now, the veil will be taken off and we'll see it in whole in heaven for those of us that are found in Jesus Christ. So I think it's really important that we establish that it grieves God when we don't get along and when we attack each other.
Absolutely it does.
It's the grace of God that he still loves us. Even while we were yet sinners, he demonstrated his love in this way, that Christ died for us.
And it's a real, because as someone who has been a Christian my whole life, who's gone to I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't study the Bible as much as I should.
Oh, well, you're wrong.
Self-admittedly. Yeah. You're wrong. You're going to hell. Hey, I've been told that before a couple of different times for different reasons by Christians. So, very blatantly, too.
An effective means of spurring you on towards love and good deeds, isn't it? Hebrews 10:24.
So I was really thinking about this because, it's really hard, right? It's really hard to bring people into the Christian faith if they're outside of the Christian faith and they're looking in and seeing all of this fighting. And, there are people doing wrong things. We all know this, right? Every single one of us in this has done wrong things.
Suzanne liked it, Chris.
She says amen on Sunday mornings for me, too.
That's
Thanks,
good.
Suzanne.
So, but, this is the problem, right? Yeah. And it's designed, I don't know why we're designed to be this way. So we can be redeemed.
Well, it's the same.
Right? We weren't designed to be in relationship with him, but sin has redesigned us. So I was telling when we get saved, we actually become rehumanized. When we come into Christ, we become human again because we were actually designed to be in relationship with him and perfect relationship with one another, but sin infected us and stole a piece of our humanity.
Yeah.
if you will.
Well, and there's kind of two lies that are told out there. One is you've got Christians telling people that they're Christians and so they're better, and then
Yes,
you've got people that are not Christians believing that Christians are supposed to be better. Neither one are really true.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
I mean,
valid.
Christians are in the process
similar to
of-
what's going on in the media.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Christians
Similar.
are in the process of sanctification. Hopefully, we're getting better, over time.
More like
him over time. But we're not perfect, and we're never going to be perfect, and we're never going to get there. And so,
Until we see him face to face.
right. And I think the ultimate, issue, or not ultimate issue, but one of the things I see out there that kind of bugs me is this whole issue of judging. First of all, non-Christians are incredibly judgmental of Christians.
Oh, 100%.
So,
yes.
So,
Yes,
when
Pastor
you lob
Rodney.
that grenade at Christians, you're like, that's
Y'all are
judgment.
judging
You're-
me.
You're judging me. Second of all, Christians are clearly called to judge certain things.
Yes.
This is a sin.
Well,
this isn't
certain
sin.
Christians are,
Well,
it just depends.
but
We're
I think-
called to judge appropriately.
Yes.
So that's actually a misnomer that Christians shouldn't be judgmental. We're
Right.
supposed to be gracious in our judgment. So if I judge a Christian to be acting inappropriate according to the faith, Jesus gave us very clear instruction. Make sure you take the log out of your own eye before you reach to grab the speck. So that's implied that we actually are supposed to take the speck out of our brother's eye. Mm-hmm. We got to do the hard work of taking the log out of our own. So really what he's saying is approach that tough conversation in humility.
Yeah.
I love you. I may be seeing this wrong, but this is how I'm seeing it. Yeah. Can we help each other?
Yeah.
But we miss that step so often and just go straight to, well, they're probably not even a real Christian.
Well,
They're a horrible
judgment that
person.
the judgment that I won't ever make is the condition of somebody else's salvation.
Right.
That's the one I won't judge.
You can't.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't say they are a Christian or not a Christian.
Bible's pretty clear on who gets to make that determination.
Yeah, it's not me,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I can look at the fruit and go,
I think so.
Well,
there's a history here. Maybe not.
There's
Yeah.
some, and ultimately, I don't know what's ultimately going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what has happened in history. I can't judge the ultimate destination of that, but I can say, hey, brother, I love you, and I've got some concerns.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be happy, healthy, and wise, and these are not behaviors that that are going to lead to that.
Well, and I think one of the biggest problems is there's some behaviors that are given a whole lot more weight than other behaviors, and it's kind of like the old this bothers me, but this doesn't.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to really dig in on this. And I think that's where it becomes, and there's obviously...
It's off-putting to outsiders.
yeah,
to
it
those
is. It's
looking
very
in at the faith.
off-putting.
I'll give you an example. The one that I preached on one time as I was saying, listen, the church gave up on condemning extramarital sex and adultery 50 years ago, and now you want to take a hard line on homosexuality? You gave up your right to do that.
That's a really good point.
Years ago.
That's one of the topics that was recently discussed at the church I'm attending was that whole concept of, well, there's and I don't want to dive deep into that because
not.
it's an uncomfortable thing
not
to talk
waffly.
about. It's not waffly, but yeah, and you're exactly right. Like if you're going to pick this, you better be concerned about this too, not just this. And so it is very off-putting. And what concerns me the most is, you mentioned the outsider, not non-Christians, let's say, judging Christians, and it's becoming very angry. There's a lot of resentment. Sure. There's a lot of anger. And my anger usually comes from a place of personal experience, right? It's like the time that my friend looked me dead in the eye and told me I was going to hell because I was baptized as a baby. It's probably not an appropriate conversation for somebody to, or I was going to hell because I was a Methodist.
Right.
And I know, but these are the types of things
Methodists are great.
that children,
Most of them.
and children, well, same thing with,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So this is the problem, is that we're pushing so hard on some things that it's just really alienating a lot of people, and they're becoming angry.
Well, let's just call it out for what it is. We live in an age that is divided sharply.
Big time, yeah.
We have wrongly bifurcated everything to be extreme over here, extreme over. I'm not even talking left or right on the way most people think of left and right. I'm just saying extremes are where people are because we are influenced now by reels and by YouTube videos and by podcasts.
Absolutely.
And so in this new information age, people are receiving all kinds of thoughts, and they're not really critically thinking about them.
Ding ding.
It's like the last thing I heard is the best thing that's ever been said, and
seek
now
out validation.
Well, don't forget about the straw man effect. I mean, our media, our social media, our traditional media, everything you hear is just replete with straw man arguments.
Right.
I'm going to create this caricature of a Christian that doesn't exist or exists in an extremely small minority and hold that up as the person you should hate, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create this leftist pedophile who's not representative of most leftists, and I'm going to point the conservatives and say that's the person you should hate.
You should hate them all.
And that's not fair for anybody, because most people are not like that.
It's not even that it's not fair. It's unintelligent.
Well, that too.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my big problem, is that we can talk fair or not fair, but my goodness, think critically. Don't become a critical spirit, but have a critical thought.
Please, yes.
And that's the problem, is there's a fine line between being a critical thinker and becoming a critical person. I want to think critically and yet be charitable towards those that disagree with me. You talked about Methodism versus other denominations. Christian orthodoxy, there's 2,000 years worth of Christian thinking, and the swath of what we call Christian orthodoxy, or what we would claim to be true and acceptable, is a wide road.
Sure it is.
But we live in an age now where, because of all the reels and YouTube videos, we have these camps that are getting very narrow.
Yes.
And if you don't walk straight down this path like I am, to use Will's point, well, then you're not a true
it's
Christian.
All or nothing.
Or you're doing it wrong. I mean, one of my best friends is a Presbyterian pastor, and he sprinkles babies. I don't. We love each other deeply, and his commitment to the gospel and his ability to articulate who Christ is beautiful.
Well, one of the
we fall in a different spot on that
particular
topic.
thing.
One of the really good analogies I heard one time, actually given by somebody who's involved in this controversy, was
primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Well, I love that. I love that. I was
Yeah.
actually going to, which he does. I love
he does
that.
a good job on
But
that.
I'm actually going to go with a different thing he talked. He talked about like the United States. He's
Okay.
like, we have the U.S. We're a country. We're all the same country. But there's Washington and there's Oregon, and they're different states. Now, we're not going to bomb Oregon because they do something different than us. We're all part of the same country.
Yeah.
We're different. We've got different flavors. We've got different laws, but we're all generally after the same thing.
You would hope.
And that's kind of how he phrased it, and I think that's kind of right. I mean, we're Christianity. We're not Buddhism. We're not Hinduism. We're not the same country. Not that we're going to bomb them, but that kind of went a weird direction.
The Buddhists are like, what did we do?
So we're meditating.
The Buddhists are like, I was just chilling out.
But it's
Trying
just,
to find Nirvana
it's different. Anyway, but then I've always said that there's two religions. There's Christianity and everything else, because Christianity is the only religion that says God did it all. Every other religion's philosophy is this is what you have to do to save yourself. Every other religion, only Christianity,
in some way or another, whether it's a philosophical religion or
only
even in a deity.
whether it's veganism or whatever, environmentalism. This is what you have to do.
Here's how you save yourself.
But only Christianity says no, you don't.
I'm a wretched sinner, and
there's nothing I can do.
Well,
nothing I can do.
And it's like back to the, and I appreciate both of your comments on it, which is why I think it's good to talk about these things without being very specific about what has triggered the conversation sometimes, talking in vague ways. And I guess the point I want to make is, it's back to the Uber drivers. You can be around all of these different people. You can have incredible, wonderful, interesting conversations and learn about why they are the way that they are. And that's okay, right? You don't have to dive down deep into their whatever they're doing. You can be understanding. You can have grace and be okay. It becomes a big problem when we start drawing boundaries as individuals on specific topics, but not others, right? So it's a very complicated thing, and I think you can always. I think the thing is I rarely leave a conversation with a person angry. because if I didn't just exactly agree with every little thing they said. It's like the guy that I know he's not getting enough protein. I didn't bring that up to him.
You need to be eating. How dare you not eat?
Yeah, because frankly, I can't remember his name.
Right.
He was in much better physical shape than I am. And who is it for me to be like, you sir, need to eat meat. You know what I mean?
And I do love it when you look at some people's life and you're like, you're utterly a wreck about every part of your life, and yet you're telling me how I'm doing it wrong,
I'm seriously
father of two, an infant and a toddler. Thanks for telling me how to parent my children.
Yeah.
You wise person who has got the whole world figured out.
I'm seriously thinking about an ice cream only diet. I think this could work.
There's protein in it.
Yeah, it's got everything you need.
Yeah.
But lots of sugar.
Well, you bring up something. There's a Greek word, epikos. It's the word gentleness in the fruit of the Spirit. We use the word gentleness, but really when you dig in, that word means open to reason. Mm-hmm. So you're reasonable.
Yeah.
And so when somebody is opposing you, what comes out? Is it gentleness? Are you reasonable in your disagreement? Or are you inflammatory? Do you blow things up? Do you cause it to just, I'm going to trash you because you disagree with me?
Yeah.
That is not the work of the Holy Spirit in the life of a Christian, because epikos says, even if you disagree with me, you're going to walk away from this conversation feeling loved and valued and cared for. That's the way that Christians are supposed to behave. We don't all the time. Thank you, God, for your grace. But I would hope everybody would at least seek to have that idea of just being reasonable.
Just be reasonable. We can relate this to so many things. I got just completely chewed out last night on a phone call about a situation that I frankly am really not even involved in, if that makes sense. And I finally just had to say, listen, this conversation is not going well. Let's stop and let's I'm going to call you back, right?
Yeah.
And both parties gave time to cool down. Mm-hmm. I called back, and we had a good conversation. And I think so many people are walking into conversations with their armor up, ready to freaking fight.
Sure.
It's screwed up business. Yeah. It's screwed up Christianity. Yeah. It's screwed up politics. Yep. And my God, you don't have to walk into every situation looking for a fight.
And you don't have to have every conversation. So if people want to talk about these two pastors, are we doing this just to have a word vomit so I can get my eyes off of my problem for a while and focus on their problem?
Oh, yeah.
Is it entertainment?
Yes.
Right, it is.
Absolutely entertainment.
Right. And
absolutely entertainment.
All press is good press, right? So when people, there's one person that has engaged me in this conversation that I can say, no, that's not fair. More than one, a couple, have said, can we learn from this?
Gosh, I hope so.
I'm willing to have that conversation because that's stepping in gentleness and humility, saying, what can we learn from this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it now. But if it's just, hey, let's poke a little fun at these two yahoos,
Yeah.
I got too many problems in my own life to jump into that one.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's become entertainment. People's I'm trying to think of the word. People's difficulties, people's struggles, people's disagreements have become entertainment.
Social media.
That's messed up.
It's the car wreck, right?
It's the car wreck. You're watching, and we're all prone to this. Mm-hmm. There's all things that we're like, ooh, I'm gonna watch this and see what happens. It's like when you're a kid and you bait one of your siblings into getting in trouble with your parents. Like this is part of that sin, right? This is us. Mm-hmm. We're inherently designed to do this. But at some point, you got to learn from it. And at some point, you got to say, this isn't my battle.
Yeah.
Am I involved in this for the right reasons, or am I involved in this because it's entertaining me?
Maybe we're headed to a time in culture where we're going to be back to survival mode. If you think about our ancestors,
gosh, I hope not. But
the people that settled this country, and made it what it is, they weren't on social media scrolling, so they didn't have to fight all these unnecessary battles.
That's true.
And so they were fighting real battles of
surviving,
trying to get their crops to succeed, and trying to eat, trying to survive, trying to help their neighbors. And not to say there wasn't relational conflict, but
there was.
It was there. But we're offered 100 opportunities to be offended every day.
I mean, how much stuff do you think about, worry about every day that you can't do a thing about?
Oh my gosh. And I am
it's like, okay, there's anti-Semitic protests at Columbia University.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that irritates me, but why?
And
there's nothing to do about that. It has nothing to do with me.
The one that gets me is there's a litter box in Spokane High School or in, Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, I don't.
First of all, did you see the litter box? Second, and this is for furries. This is what I'm referring to.
Yep.
Someone on Twitter in Nowhere Land told you that. Is it true?
Therefore, Therefore, all high schools are doing. Therefore, get your kids out of public high schools.
Are allowing kids to use litter boxes, and I'm going to question that with what janitors or custodians are they finding to remove litter boxes? That doesn't even make sense.
It's hysterical. And so
let's use some critical thinking.
And so
back
Jesus
to your point.
said, "Who of you can add another moment of your life by worrying about these things?" He said, "Hey,
why would you want to?
See those flowers? They've got clothes to wear. I clothe them every day. See those birds? I feed them every day. So how about you quit worrying about things that are out of your control?
Get a hobby."
There you go.
Yeah.
So, get a project.
Anyway. Well, guys, I gotta.
We gotta go.
That was a good conversation, though, and I appreciate you guys having it with me.
Yeah, happy to do that. But we'll be back next week, and we don't know what we'll talk about then, but it should be entertaining. We'll see you then.
Blessings.
Bye.